With regards to the basic refrigeration cycle, the condition of refrigerant in the suction line should be what? Should it be a low pressure superheated gas, a low pressure saturated gas, low pressure subcooled liquid, or a low pressure saturated condition? Well, the evaporator, shown here, is on the low side of the system. The reason the refrigerant in the evaporator is experiencing low pressure is because liquid fed from the liquid line through a restrictive metering device, which causes a sudden pressure and corresponding temperature drop, which creates the low side pressure of the system and establishes the beginning of the boiling process in the evaporator. If the evaporator is working correctly, it will absorb as much heat as possible from the air blowing across it in order to cool the air. But by absorbing that heat, it drives the boiling process of the liquid refrigerant that was fed into the evaporator. Therefore, as refrigerant flows through each pass of the evaporator and eventually leaves at its outlet, we would have converted all of the liquid into a vapor. In other words, we boiled all the liquid off and absorbed as much latent heat as possible. That keeps the capacity and efficiency of the evaporator high. So, if we're leaving the evaporator in a 100% gas state, and the gas itself is still cooler than the air blowing across that line, then when it enters the suction line, it would have picked up a little extra heat and therefore superheated the gas above the temperature of your boiling point or evaporation temperature. So the answer to the question about the state of the refrigerant in the suction line is A, it's a low pressure superheated gas. The other good thing about having superheat in the suction line is it proves that you never have liquid flowing through the suction line and entering the compressor where it can damage such an expensive component.